Hi, everybody. It's Mike from Hear the Watchmen, and today I'm coming to you with a guest who's never been on the show before, who has an amazing testimony. And I came across him just in the course of talking about the Hear the Watchmen Intensive Spiritual Warfare Training Workshop that is happening in just 3 weeks now in Long Island, New York. You can still get a ticket if you like. Go to hearthewatchmen.com. But the breaking news is we now have the pre order for the DVDs, and we have a package for the live stream and on demand. You get both the streaming and on demand. Just go to hearthewatchmenmen.com to avail yourself of that. Our guest today is Eric Brown. Eric is from Houston, and Eric has a phenomenal testimony, especially pertaining to something that happened with his daughter. Eric, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what happened?
Well, my name is Eric Brown. I'm just a man of God, veteran, and just a parent, man. And basically, it was 2012. My daughter was at volleyball practice and started literally going to sleep while at practice. And so I took her out, and by the time we got in the car, her whole cognition just disappeared. So I had to take her to the emergency room. And basically, they did an MRI, found a mass in her head, and got back with us and told us, so we were devastated. And from there, they transferred us to a children's hospital, which is supposed to be one of the best in the world. And we got there around midnight, and the doctor sat with me and my wife, gave us a scenario that he would go in. He said the cerebral spinal fluid had built up on the head. He was going to drain it, and basically said in a couple of hours, it'd be back to normal. So we did the surgery, and when we came out of surgery, she had shunts in her head that he never told us about. She was basically in a coma, and then they started telling us she had cancer, and we need to start chemo right away. So it shocked me and my wife to death. And long story short, I asked for documentation to prove that it was cancer, and they got offended. Started telling me based on the fact that she tested positive for being pregnant, which was not normal. So they said they knew it was cancer based on certain parameters. And I said, well, I would love to have proof myself, And basically, in that first week, she had 3 brain surgeries because those shunts malfunctioned literally every other day. And so she ended up having 3 brain surgeries in the first week. And after I complained, they called Child Protective Services on me and my wife.
Wow.
And so, yeah.
Now, did you have like any indication that she was ill other than when she fell asleep at the volleyball game?
None. She would always complain about being thirsty, which we thought she was just like water a lot. But we come to find out it was because the tumor she had was causing her to be thirsty, and she was drinking a lot for that. But we didn't know it until after, other than that, she had no indication. She was living a normal life, and nothing went wrong other than the fact that she lost her cognition.
You have a documentary on YouTube, and I'm going to go ahead and post it in the description portion of this interview when we're done. And it's fascinating. I'm not sure. Maybe you can talk to us a little bit about how the heck did Children's Services get involved in this, and what gives them the right to tell you how you should treat your own child?
Man, when I complained about the abuse because my daughter had 3 brain surgeries literally in less than a week, they decided to call Child Protective Services, and they kicked me and my wife out of the hospital, and they left my 2 sons there with her. And then they brought us back into a meeting and started telling us we need to start chemo right away. They tried to give us some research papers to sign, and I refused to sign them. And I said, I don't want you researching my daughter, I want you healing my daughter. And basically, Child Protective Services tried to force us to do stuff and tell us that if we didn't, they could take custody. And so I found out later that that's a normal tactic that they do with all parents, and it's a fear tactic to get people just to submit. And basically, they ended up sending us across the street to MD Anderson Hospital. and they called Child Protective Services again over there. And this time, Child Protective Services sent us to court, and they forced the doctors to start treating my daughter and start giving her chemo. And it wasn't until several months later that I got the medical records and found out she never had cancer. She's never tested positive for cancer. And they knew it. They actually knew it and hid it and actually removed the tumor out of her head on the very first surgery. They removed the tumor and never told us. That was all in the medical records.
Man. I mean, so basically what they were doing is they were trying to trick you into having your daughter become some sort of a research patient?
Right. I believe they get a lot of funding, government funding, and they pretty much can do what they want to do with that money and say they did something with it. And at the end of the day, they just wanted to get that money and move forward and research. Because several times they kicked me out of the hospital because I called the police at both hospitals, and both times the police turned on me because that's their side job. So I was like, wow.
Wow.
And I was, but what I did do, I was in there praying, and I was constantly letting them know that I knew what they're doing was wrong, and they couldn't take the fact that I brought the truth to their face, because they loved it when you're ignorant and pretend like the doctors are helping you, and the power of God came in and basically worked it out, and we ended up getting sent to a third hospital in Austin, which is another city, and that doctor went in and told us that the shunts were just totally trash and removed them, and she never had a shunt malfunction again. Then eventually she, we ended up pulling all that stuff out of her head. They never acknowledged that they lied, and never acknowledged that they tried to kill her. Literally, she had a brain seizure, she had a stroke, all because of chemo, it's nobody wants to help us fight the situation because the medical center is the largest one in the country, and there's too many people to go against.
Wow. Now, Eric, when you were going through all this, uh, how did you keep your faith? How did you keep your faith in God? What was going through your mind from a Christian perspective during this period?
Man, when it first hit, I was pretty stable in my faith, so I understood that God was sovereign and that all things work together. But you don't expect something like this to happen to you. You hear about it, but I was just trusting God. I was the type of parent that I was into natural health, so I always gave my family natural stuff. We never used doctors, not because I hate them, just the fact that we using natural remedies and we were fine. So when it happened, sovereignly, God put me in a situation to bring me to another level in my faith. Because He put me in a situation where I couldn't control the supplementation of what I give my family, my daughter specifically, and they were drugging her up, they were overdosing her, they were kicking me out of the hospital and doing what they wanted to do. It was like the worst thing you could do to me as a human, but yet God was showing me that I'm sovereign. That's your daughter temporarily, but she's my daughter forever. You know, and so I had to come to grips with the fact that, man, I'm controlling her life as though she's mine when really she's His, and I had to let go and just allow God to run the ship. And I realized that, God, if you want her to die, I know she'll be with you, but if you want her to stay, she'll be with you. And so I had to grasp that and allow God to be God, and it took me to a whole nother level in my walk with Him.
Wow, that's what a powerful testimony. Now, uh, how does this story end? I mean, how is your daughter now?
At this point, um, her last surgery, which she ended up with like 12 brain surgeries, all in 2012. The last one was done on October 2012. They removed the shunts. She never needed the shunts. That's the sad part. The shunts were never necessary. They took them out. Um, uh, I didn't know if she was gonna be mentally retarded or damaged because she had no memory. Her memory was shot, and so we were just left in limbo, trusting God. And so at this point, she was 13 then. She's 20 now. She has never started her menstrual cycles. She's her memory has come back darn near 80 to 90%. She's all the hormones test low whenever they test them, but yet she's continued to grow and develop in spite of that. So we know God is guiding everything, and so at this point, she's a miracle walking, because literally 3 different times I gave her up for dead while she was in the hospital. That's how bad off they had her. And we're just trusting God to do what He want to do in this time, but awesome results at this point.
Well, amen, brother. And I just want to let you know you have all of our prayers, and everybody that's watching this will be praying for you and your family. What a great man of faith you are. Thank you. I really want to thank you for taking the time out of your day today to talk with us, Eric, and especially about such a sensitive subject. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and God bless you and your audience.
Well, folks, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Watchman's Report. Please remember, as we always say here, there's absolutely nothing you can't do with Jesus in your heart, except nothing at all. Get up, get busy, activate your faith, get out there and make a difference in someone's life. We'll see you next time here on the Watchman's Report.